everyone, so before this video starts, I actually want to do a little bit of a non-sponsored shout out to a store that I think is actually pretty cool, and that would be fye.com. Fye, how do you say that? Fye is some pop culture music store that has been around for the past few years, and I've been... Really? So like I was saying before I got interrupted, Fye is a store that carries a bunch of pop culture stuff like Marvel, DC, anime, Five Nights at Freddy's for some reason, and Godzilla is actually one of those lines. And in collaboration with Godzilla Kong New Empire, they even put out some pretty cool merch. I actually have a few things here from the store, such as this Godzilla keychain, a black cherry soda, I haven't opened this yet, and some candy bars that I also haven't opened because I'm a completionist and it's completely taken over my lifestyle. They've got a Godzilla and a Shimo one, and these things are actually pretty cool to see. But I'm talking about all this because I want to make a challenge with you guys. With all the giant growth this channel is getting, I want to see if I'm able to convince you guys to do something. If 300 of you guys can like this video, then I will personally go out and buy the entire Godzilla Kong food collection from Fye. That includes the soda, the hot sauce, the 4 chocolate bars, and the ice cream. If I'm even able to find the ice cream. Oh, god damn it. So, that's my challenge to you guys. If you guys can get this video to 300 likes, I'll make a video where I try all that stuff. And if you guys don't, then I'll just forget about this and we can move on forever. Alright, that's enough about this. Let's get on with the video.
No, I've learned my lesson. Every time I close my eyes, I can still see those weird drawings of me. Who draws that stuff?
Hello everyone, my name is Omega the Real, or Meg if you want to keep it short and simple, and today, we're making it evil. Because today, we're going to be taking a look at the Godzilla Kong, the New Empire Playmates 6-inch scale Skar King and Shimo. Let's start this off. Now that the movie's basically out in almost every international market except Japan, sorry Japan, I think that it's finally time we could take a actual detailed look at these Playmates figures, considering I've had them sitting around for a month. I think it's finally time that we look into them and, you know, do a review on them, because honestly, the Godzilla hype train is the only thing keeping the channel alive at this point. So without further ado, let's talk about the monkey.
To face the deadliest titans ever, the giant ruthless Skar King.
Detail and paint on Skar King here are pretty decent because despite being a Playmates toy, this is nothing special. I'm usually a big fan of these Playmates guys, but I don't know what's up with Skar King here, but he seems the weakest out of the 4 main characters from this. Like, I can actually say he feels like a standard Playmate toy, but he doesn't look like it. Like, what could have been a solid 8 out of 10 is actually more of very, very mundane 5 out of 10. And I'm not really proud to say that because I was actually hoping for a lot out of this guy. But I think you should stop complaining now, or else you guys are going to click off and actually start talking about something that's really cool. And that's everything else about this figure. Seemingly being the only accurate in-scale version of Skar King for the foreseeable future because Hayatoys just only wants to do the lizards for some reason, this guy's actually really, really nice considering you don't have any options. Like I said before, detailing on Skar King here is nice, but paint is really, really basic. As you can see, it's very, very, very basic printing. And that's nothing to complain about, I guess, considering you are paying $10 for what is basically at this point an accurate Skar King. Just wish a little more was put into this, but for what you get, I don't think we're allowed to complain, I'm gonna be honest. And actually, when comparing the articulation of Kong, Skar King actually has more movement compared to that guy, because he's got a ball joint at the head, which allows for a full rotation, and the arms actually have some pretty good movement as well, despite being very cheap. This feels too bendy. Does anyone else have that problem with these guys? Although he's a lot better when it comes to the core, despite having a very, very loud mid-joint. He's not bad, but like I said, if it comes down to it in the future, the Playmates toys are not going to be your first choice for action figures of these guys. you're gonna want to find something better than this, because despite being okay at best, we could do better. And I was actually expecting him to fall, but the fact that he didn't pisses me off even more. I kind of did forget to mention that he has wrist rotation on both hands, but I'm mentioning it now, so you can't blame me for that. And his accessory, too, is actually one of the most interesting weapons from the Monsterverse, probably behind the axe that we still don't have a real name for. It's this whiplash bone whip thing. It's called the whiplash, but I don't even think that's the real name of it. And in theory, this could work out pretty well as a decent accessory, but it's made of a non-articulated soft rubber, so you're gonna have to use your imagination or just your basic hand to move this thing around. And that's fine until you want to do photography, which then you're kind of limited on options despite him holding a giant letter C. It could have been good, but the mace itself is kind of basic, and for $10, like I said, I should not be complaining because I actually kind of like this, but there's definitely room to improve this. Absolutely. One positive about the whip actually is that how it stores is really cool, giving this war monkey type of vibe, and I think that's what they were going for, and honestly, this is pretty cool, not gonna lie. I can't even be mad at this. And for standing just around 5 3/4 inches tall, he's actually a standard size for this line, considering he's supposed to be smaller than Kong in this movie. But I think when you're talking to kids, general height continuity is not going to be something they take into comparison. So let's do some comparisons with the Playmates GXK Beast Glove Kong, the Playmates GXK Evolved Godzilla, Playmates GXK Suko and Doug. I don't know why Doug got a toy. He was a cameo in this movie. Why are you here? And GXK Princess Elsa. We'll get to her in a second. Overall, Skar King is just fine. There's nothing special about this guy that make him a highlight of a collection, but there is one thing that's definitely special, and it's this girl right here. Let's talk about Shimo.
I'll go right up your nose! Whoa, whoa, whoa! You wouldn't hit a woman.
That's a woman?
Now, don't get me wrong. I like Shimo. It's definitely a fan favorite to many people, and I can see why. But would you be mad at me if I said this design is kind of boring? Details and paint on this girl are both bad and good at the same time for different reasons that we should probably highlight right now. For one, the paint is very, very simple. I think the only spots on paint are the head, the crest, and the tail, and besides that, paint is non-existent on this thing, which is good because if this is for a kids line, they're gonna beat the hell out of this thing, so props to Playmates for making sure this thing lives a long time. Details as well is where the bad and the good comes in, because a lot of this figure's details are muted and very hard to see, but when it does get detailed, it looks really cool, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a basic yet unique design that needs some getting used to at first, but after you're gone through that honeymoon phase of is this design good, it's pretty nice. Overall, for being an original design from the Monsterverse in a long time, it's a really fun concept, and I'm glad to see we get an ice dragon looking thing from this. Now, how's the articulation on this girl? Not that much better. Now, for articulation, it's fine. We get some pretty good movement at the head. We have a swivel and a rotation joint here at this head that allows her to move around pretty decently, and she even goes with a jaw, which is important for later. But her legs, I think the legs could have been better. Not because of the knee joints, but because of back here where they just go back and forth. They could have used some outward joints from the front into back here, but overall, I think we're asking for too much at $10, so whoop-de-doo. She's got some feet rotation at all of her legs, so that's fine. And her tail is just one big ball joint, so overall, you're gonna want a Hayatoy figure instead if you want articulation, but for her right now, it's not bad, but you can always get better. Now, I know I've been really comparative this review, and I don't know why that is, but for what they are at their sizes and price points, these are genuinely good figures. I just don't know why I've been comparing them so harshly. Pardon my negativism for some reason. I don't know what that is for. I definitely want to say she's a good figure because I genuinely have fun with this thing, but I don't know. There's something that needs to justify this. I just feel like there's something missing that we need to talk about, and I just don't know what it is. Oh shit, that's right. Now, Shimo here actually has an accessory, every single one of these GXK figures do, and hers is her iconic, quotations, Frostbite Blast, which is also the dumbest name I've ever heard, but when you're making movies about giant monsters, dumb is probably the first thing you're gonna have to deal with. I do really like the design of the blast, too. It makes it differentiate itself from, like, Godzilla, and I think the only other character that they released so far with the beam being Mechagodzilla. It makes it really unique and not just a normal blue Spitfire piece. And I really like that, despite it not matching the spines on her back, but I think we could let that slide just for her, right? Overall, I think it's a really cool accessory and is the only one that works with her, so glad we got it. And the way it plugs in is it's just a little hole in the mouth. But if you don't feel satisfied with the hole, you could just squeeze it down and it kind of just looks like she's trying to hold back throw up, but it's not working too well. Now, with the tallest crystal on her back actually only measuring to just a little under 5 inches, she's definitely out of scale for this figure. But in a 6-inch line, how much lee room can you have? Thankfully, we're getting a giant Shimo later down the year, so maybe that can help fix the size issues, but for now, I think this is just gonna do fine. So, let's finish off with some size comparisons. So to start off comparisons, here's Shimo next to the Godzilla Kong, the New Empire Playmates Kong, and wow, from the movie, she stands way taller than this, so yes, she's out of scale, but for now, it's the only scale that'll do, so let's just move on to the next figure. The Playmates Godzilla Kong, the New Empire Evolved Godzilla. Suko and Doug, yet again, for some reason, why did I even buy these things? And finally, here she is next to her unfortunate master, the Playmates Godzilla Kong, the New Empire Skar King. Like I said before, this figure is way out of scale with everything, but honestly, for the time being, this is the best thing that's going to work, and honestly, I'm fine with it for now, until we get that 12-inch figure. Overall, Skar King and Shimo here are pretty fantastic releases. If you're able to even find Shimo, I would really recommend you finding her, because she's actually really fun to mess around with, and for this being the only in-scale version of her for a long time, I'd say get her, because honestly, I have way more fun with this thing than Skar King. But as a pairing, it was definitely interesting to see these two interact throughout the movie, despite how little they interacted at all. But the figures here are really nice, and if there's anything I could say about this, get them. I actually recommend these things despite being cheap $10 toys, but you're going to have a lot of fun with these. I'm sure you will, because I did, and this is what a review is for. In conclusion, I just think both these guys and gal, are pretty damn good for what they are. Skar King a little less than Shimo, but I genuinely think this is a really fun pairing. And if you're, like I said, able to find her, go ahead and pick up Shimo. Skar King is okay, I guess you can pick him up. But Shimo is absolutely fantastic. And if we could all get the internet trolls and goblins to stop doing those things to her, that would be great. But we all know that's not going to stop. Well, I think that's it for this review. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, 300 likes and we'll do the entire tasting video. But I don't even know if you guys will actually do that. But if you do, surprise me and make me waste my money, I guess. Oh god, it's gonna suck. That's it for this time. My name is Omega, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.